师啊，考生不用老师，这边在座都是老师、院长一大堆。我是也是我们双语教育推动办公室的一个教师真人组的组长，我刚上任一下而已，所以我们现在办活动都还在调整阶段，可是我们尽量想要把这个东西把它变得更好。那在开始之前呢，我先跟大家讲一下我们台科大今年有哪些支持大家教 EMI 教学的一个方案。那同样的，这些也会给我们的一些伙伴学校都会一起来使用。第一个的话就是我们有一个 EMI 的教学的一个社团，那这个办法的话，应该我们之后就会公布，那就会除了台科的老师可以加入社团，大家一起来讨论 EMI 之外呢，我们也会特别希望能够邀请其他学校的老师跟我们一起加入。那我们之后的办法会再寄给大家。那跟老师们相关的一件事情就是说，我们有一个 EMI 的一个教学的技巧奖励办法，增进优化 EMI 教学奖励的一个办法。那这个办法呢，我相信对老师来讲的话是非常有吸引力因为就是有一点像我们之前在教 PBL 的我们如果在学期末把你们的资料把它整理好之后，我们可以去上传说我们在这学期我们学了哪些 EMI 的技巧，用在哪些课堂把这些东西整理之后，我们会去送去委员会，然后去审查。那审查的话有不同的点数，最高可以得到72点，然后其他是48到24点。所以只要有丢都有机会。那它有一些要求，就是说你必须至少你要先得到一些英文就是有一些授课的一个上那个叫认证嘛，就是之前有 Cambridge 有上过的那个部分。那还有一个就是说在上学期有参加 Fulbright 的一个训练的那个部分。那还有另外的呢，就是这学期你有去参加 Fulbright 36小时那个教学资源中心所办的36小时认证的话，我们也是可以的。我们把它解决了，谢谢。然后除此之外呢，对于之前已经拿过认证的老师们，每一学期至少就是参加一场。就是如果你已经拿过这一学期，你参加这一场的话，你就符合 EMI 的优化的一个申请的一个标准。当然，我们更希望你多来参加这样子。I know some of you only understand English, but I will still try my best. So basically, this semester we have prepared a lot of new EMI policy, including rewarding the teacher who teaching EMI, and also we try to have a social group between different school and also different department to help to enhance the EMI teaching technique. And in the future, we will also send out more message, and hopefully we will recruit more people to join the EMI teaching. And okay, let me switch to Mandarin. So today, 对不起，中文调不回来。所以我们今天的话，我们等一下可能Professor Wang 可能会用英文、中文都把它结合在一起。所以希望每个人都可以听得懂这样子，当然大家都一定听得懂。所以只是说我们想要让大家能够更习惯这 EMI 的一个教导。那在来之前呢，我刚好遇到长庚的杨老师，我带他去看我们台科大最出名的乌龟池。大家在座有看过乌龟池，请举手。好，有在前面发呆过，请举手。OK， 好。其实蛮疗愈的就是看到乌龟在那边 balance， 我觉得我们老师也是很像在那边 balance， 怎么在英文的 teaching 的 content teaching， 还有一些 EMI 的 teaching 上面去在那边挣扎，如何能够找到平衡。我后来发现一件事情，乌龟为什么它能平衡的那么好？因为它看到别只乌龟怎么平衡，它就开始去平衡了。所以我们今天就是特别去找一下我们的后花园。我们的台大的王主任来跟我们分享一下他的16年的 EMI 的教学经验。So it's very difficult to balance in between teaching lecture-based using Mandarin and also right now switch to EMI. It's sometimes take time to learn all the technique. So today we invite Professor Wang from National Taiwan University to give a lecture today. He has been teaching EMI for 16 years and also received a lot of awards. I know him, but I didn't know that he's that good at EMI until COVID. Because COVID, we watching the video and say, oh hey, I know this guy. Then I decide I'm going to invite him because I think that talk is very fun. Because sometimes, remote distance learning sometimes boring. I just leave it over there and just do nothing. But Professor Wang's talk, I listen from the top to the end, so it's like it's very interesting. So I decided to invite him to give a talk today. So 我就不多讲，就直接把时间交给王老师。
Now I'm confused. Should I use English and continue, or should I switch to Mandarin? That's the problem. Usually, for this talk, all of the demos will have to be English because this is EMI. But when I introduce myself, I can switch to Chinese. But part of this to help you guys, the slides are bilingual.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So I would like to thank Zhenyu to invite me to come to this. To give this talk, although frankly speaking, I'm not sure how many of you are in the same situation as I am, because I'm in the Department of Economics, so I teach economics. So how many of you teach economics? Nobody. Okay. There is some kind of difference between what the students you face or the class you teach and compared to what I do. So there is this gap that we need to try to fill. All right, but anyway, let's start. So we had some technology problem. Hopefully now it's solved. Wait, where's my mouse? Here it is. Okay. Okay. Yeah. So I will be using Slido, so you can scan it, but you don't have to do it now. You can do it when it comes out. So first, I want to tell you how I started. So that you know that what kind of situation what I'm going to talk about applies to. So I started to teach at NTU back in 2007. First, that was my first year coming back, and then the department said, "Oh, teach principles of economics." So this is first year introductory, no background, high school students just graduated, coming to college. And they take this. And because my research is on experimental economics, so I know that the killer application of experimental economics is on teaching. So I said, okay, so maybe I should design one classroom experiment per week. So the first week it's 10 principles of economics. It's an introduction of what is economics. So I designed an experiment to try to talk about what is economics. The next week is gains from trade, so I designed an experiment on gains from trade. The third week is about supply-demand, so I designed a supply-demand experiment. The fourth week is about taxation, so I did it, and so on. So I basically matched that. I almost had no sleep that semester because I had to think about, everything teaching is new, but I also have to try to teach and design at the same time what experiment, what classroom activity to implement in class. Okay, the next year I was asked to teach graduate micro theory. So this is a graduate level core course, and I did it in English. And so actually, I wrote in my syllabus, I commit not to understand Chinese in class and in grading. The students hated it, but NTU students can take it. Now, I'm not sure about your students, so it depends. There is a variation of student ability. But because of this, every time when I want to write a letter of recommendation for these students, if they want to go abroad, it's very easy. I just say that on the syllabus I have this there, and I enforce this. So yeah, so if they can survive in my class, I believe they can survive abroad as well. And the next year, maybe because building on that success, so the department said, why don't you teach principles of microeconomics in English? So now it's not that I'm going to face graduate students. I'm going back to 18-year-old freshmen, and then I say, okay, so I try to teach that, yeah. And some of the classes are, well, each year is different because we actually have 5 different classes at the same time, all teaching principles of microeconomics. And because it's required for economics, management, international business, finance, I mean, a whole bunch of departments all need this class. And so we have 5 instructors at 5 different classrooms. Actually, the most biggest time was like Boya 101, 102, 103, 202. All of the big classes are filled with this. Mine's the smallest because the other 4 are taught in Chinese. But I'm happy because I know that, my rule of the thumb is that when you teach a class EMI or in English compared to in Chinese, the same instructor, the same class, the enrollment is like, a ratio is 1 to 2. So you would only have half. So my colleagues have like 300 students, I have only 169 or 162. Well, it's still the biggest class in NTU that's taught in English. And but sometimes it drops down to 99, sometimes it's 110, 120, but yeah, so that varies. And actually during the pandemic, so the university recorded this class, and so now on NTU OpenCourseWare, you can actually click on that and go through the entire class there as well. So yeah, so if you want to see how crazy or how bad I teach, you can go there. Yeah, but that was the craziest semester because that was when, we just reopened up, but there was social distance. So the first week, it was only me and the cameraman and the TA. And then after 3 weeks, some students came back. At first they said you can have a social distance. So the big classroom can only have like, I don't know, 30 students or 50 students. Then they said 90 students. And then they allowed everybody to come back. But then the foreign students are still locked down back in Indonesia, in Vietnam, or whatever country, depending on the pandemic. And so I even got this request that, sorry, I can't take the midterm because I landed on the first day of midterms week. But back then you have to go through 14 plus 7 days of quarantine. And so, yeah. And so I finally saw everybody on finals week. But yeah, that was the crazy semester. Hopefully we won't have to see that anymore again. But okay, so yeah, so I started to flip the graduate micro class starting from 2013, and I even turned my experimental economics class. So this is a elective course into MOOC. First on Coursera, and now also the English version is on NTU OpenCourseWare as well. And yeah, so during the pandemic, I started to learn how to use the iPad to record it, and so part of the recording you actually see is this hybrid version that I actually saw. It's yeah, and I think hybrid is the most craziest way of teaching. I mean, as I described, that whole experience was so going from all online to gradually people coming back. But then you have to manage the online people that's in your Zoom or WebEx or whatever online chat room program, and then you have to manage the people that are in the classroom. Yeah. So and there I was taught by the students. Because there was one summer, a student, a camp invited me to give a lecture online, and they said, we're going to use Slido for the students to ask questions, and you have to respond. And so I learned how to use Slido. And I think I'm on the list of the most frequently Slido test user, top 1% users. Yeah, because I design quizzes each and every lecture on Slido. And then for the classroom experiments, I started out everything in person, because back then it was a time when if there are 10 laptops in the classroom, then Wi-Fi would be just dead. And then that's back in 2007. And then, but now everybody has their smartphone with all-you-can-eat connection, and so we actually even use MobLab, which is an app. So we, instead of forcing students to not open up their cell phones, we say we take over your cell phones because you have to open up the app to actually participate. All right. So so that's about myself. Now I'm going to ask the first question. Why do I have to teach in English? So actually, so the first question is why, or what is EMI supposedly there to do? Supposedly, EMI is there to help prepare our students so that if they want to study abroad or work abroad, well, if they're accustomed to using English in the classroom, they should be able to use this it will be easier for them to use English either in a foreign university or in the workplace. And so, of course, as a university, if you can provide EMI, then you can attract better students. And so that's the road to heaven. Yeah, so that's the good path. Unfortunately, there's Johnny Walker. So there's a detour. So what I heard when I first came back was there was some ranking that's going to see how international you are. And because of that, so universities have this incentive to get a lot of foreign students. But the foreign students come and then they say, wait a minute, all of your classes are in Chinese. What class can I take? So in order to solve this problem, so the universities would say, hey, why don't you teach in English? And of course, they're not going to ask the senior professors to do this, so they'll ask the junior faculty to do this. And that's why most of you are younger than the median age of faculty in the university. And of course, if you're a good citizen, you will follow orders. But if you're so busy or if you're not convinced, then you just pay lip service. So I've heard horror stories about how this the EMI or the English teaching classes become. Even NTU students, some of them would complain. They complain that this class is supposedly taught in English, but actually, when there's no foreign students around, the professor just uses Chinese. Or it becomes a bilingual class where the first sentence is in English and then nobody understands, but then the professor repeats it in Chinese and everybody's, oh, yeah. And so, yeah, so I mean, there are a lot of horror stories about how this is. Yeah, but I think the problem is that if our goal is not really to not fulfilling the original goal, but going down this Johnny Walker detour of it's just because we want to fulfill this ranking requirement, and it's all that. It's just about that. Then people respond to incentives. So if nobody's serious about this, then of course lip service is what you're going to see. Actually, there is a way out of this. So how can we turn back? The Department of Economics in NTU actually has been doing this for since 2009, is to actually bring in foreign faculty. So I think we have the highest foreign faculty concentration for the whole NTU, maybe outside the foreign languages and literatures department, because they have all these teachers teaching French, French, German, Latin, Greek, and so on. So of course they have a lot of foreign faculty, but we have a lot of foreign faculty. Actually, we just made 2 offers that were accepted by 2 Japanese. And why is that real? Because if we have so actually some of my colleagues, they're Korean, so if they come in and they teach, then, well, the students can't speak Chinese to them. Well, you might say, oh yeah, but maybe if it's a Korean faculty, some of the K-pop lovers students will be able to try to speak Korean. Yeah, but at least in class, for the whole class, it's not the case that you will have a whole class of K-pop lovers or actually I think the most common foreign language known other than English in Taiwan's student population is Japanese. So you could imagine some of the students could speak Japanese to our my Japanese colleagues, but yeah. So in the past we had Americans, Germans, Swiss. So we have a whole array of international faculty, and of course English is already likely their second language, and so and although some of them actually decided to learn Chinese later on, but at least in class that class is for real. So then you can really go back to the original goal to really offer a true environment, just like what you would see in any other school in any other place other than Taiwan. And of course that would be for real. Of course, I have to admit, EMI for real is not easy. It's an uphill battle. It's an uphill battle. I mean. And but I think for me it's really about so are we really willing to invest on the students? Because actually investing on the students is truly investing in the long-term future of the university, and of course as a faculty of the university it's also investing on yourself. I always joke that although there's this so a lot of the universities call themselves a research university. So why do we have to teach? And then so my postdoc advisor at Caltech said the teaching philosophy of Caltech is we're basically a research institute. We teach. So we have students, so we have RAs, and we teach so that the RAs know what they're doing. And I think that's the right teaching philosophy for every institution that's really serious about research. Because if you teach your students well, they will become your good RAs, good graduate students, actually potentially future colleagues, or postdocs and so on. And if you do a crappy job in teaching, then you will get bad RAs, bad students, bad postdocs, and bad colleagues. So yeah, so in the long run, it's actually good. But of course, I mean, this is an uphill battle. I'm not saying that this is easy. And because of this, so even if you are not a foreign faculty, you can still try to do this for real. To really think, how can you really create an environment that's truly just like a university classroom in the US or in some other foreign country. But it's challenging because you have to go against the tide. You need a very clear goal why you want to do this, and you need discipline. So I say that's why you need Apple. Think different. Yeah. All right. So okay. So that's about why I think we're doing this EMI teaching, or what it's supposed to do, versus the Johnny Walker detour that a lot of the challenging issues come about. And of course, we have some foreign faculty here, so you know that. Well, I mean, as a foreign faculty, by default, you will be doing it correctly. But even if you're not a foreign faculty, if you resist the challenge to actually, even in my principal's class, the students will come to me and ask questions in Chinese. So what I do is there is a temptation that I will respond in Chinese. But eventually, I try to pre-commit. I always respond in English, and so if this is asked in the whole class, what I would have to do is to repeat the question in English so that all of the foreign students understand, and then give the answer in English. I even force my TA to do the same thing, although I'm not sure if the TA, when the TA is not in my. When I don't see the TA, would the TA secretly teach them in Chinese? That's a problem. Although I always tell the TA, Well, if you take the temptation, then the students will overwhelm you because the students dare not come to me where I pre-commit to do this in English, so they'll just all go to you. And so you will also have to try to commit to give the office hour or to give the TA session in English so that the students will come back to me instead of just trying to flood you. All right, so that's that. Okay, so comparing teaching in English at NTU, there are the pros and the cons or the challenges. The first thing is, as I said, in the principles of economics class, there are 5 instructors teaching at the same time. Who are the people that's going to come to my class? And it's likely the people who are confident about their English ability. Trust me, even for NTU students, they're afraid that their English ability is bad. I mean, you might not believe this, because I mean, when I go to any place outside of NTU, nobody believes that. But I think it's true in the sense of the following. Our English education before entering college has the wrong goal. So instead of actually using English as a mean of communication, the whole English education is meant to teach you how to beat or get the highest score in the written exam of the GSAT, 学测, yeah. And so because of that, the students, even NTU students, who have, a lot of them have the highest score in the written exam in the GSAT, they've never really used English as a means of communication. And so coming to my class, my principles of microeconomics class, is the first time in their life that they have to use English to communicate. And so they're so afraid of that. And so they prefer to go to the other ones. And it's only the selected subgroup of students that are confident enough to actually join. The flip side is that all of the foreign students come to my class. So actually when I say like I have like 100 students or like 169, half of them are all of the foreign students in all of the departments that have this required course, because I'm the only class. And then the other half are the Taiwanese students who are willing to stay. And yeah, okay, so it's challenging because of the self-selection, it's challenging to manage this class. But I do think that self-selection is actually good, because at least these are the motivated students. I won't see the students who are not motivated. If they want to try to get an easy A, they will not come to my class, because I know that they know that this is an English class. But but usually because of this, you have this bimodal distribution where some of the self-selected Taiwanese students are very good, but the foreign students, the average of their grades and so on might not be that good. But I think that is a very good compliment, because in class, the foreign students are very willing to answer questions, to raise their hands and ask you about things. But the Taiwanese students are always silent. But when they do the exam, it's the flip side. So both groups have something to learn from each other. Yeah, but I do admit that if your class is not in a situation like that, where if the whole class is all Taiwanese students, then it's it's unbalanced. Or if a whole class has all of this are foreign students and no Taiwanese students is in this class, well, in either way you have unbalance. But if you have a balanced class where you have roughly half of them are Taiwanese students and half of them are foreign students, then they can actually learn from each other, and you will not be pulled towards one side and then ignore the other side. All right. The other thing is that teaching is actually path dependent. I mean, so it's easier if you started out to teach in English and then just keep that. Why? Because if you just got a PhD from a university where English is the instructing language, then teaching Chinese is even more challenging. I remember when I first taught, actually I was forced to teach in Chinese. That was before I was asked to do this in English. And I was like, wait a minute, what is the Chinese translation for adverse selection? Or, and when I go to the Chinese textbooks, they give all these crazy, almost like Google translation answers that nobody understands. And so I would have to try to figure out what is the right way to introduce these economics terms. But if you go straight to English, then what you've learned during your PhD is what you can actually just bring out. But if you try to teach already in Chinese and then you switch to English, then it's a nightmare again, because you have to switch all of your jokes, all of your lecture notes, and so on. All of that has to be switched back to a different language, and so it's almost like teaching a new course. And but even if you go through all of this obstacle, the real challenge is how do you foster discussion and interaction. And because Taiwanese students are already very quiet, even in a Chinese classroom, it's even more challenging in an English context, because it's almost surely their first time to truly use English as it is truly intended, which is to use that to communicate. I mean, well, if your grammar is wrong, if your pronunciation is wrong, fine. I mean, if you go to the world, you will see that there are plenty of different accents and different localized versions of English. And so who cares that you speak English that has a Taiwanese accent or you're using the grammar wrong? Well, that's fine. I mean, you can just speak like Yoda, right? I mean, his grammar is always the opposite, backwards. Fine. But that's when it's for communication. But the Taiwanese students are not trained that way, because they're trained to get the exact right answer in the written exam. And so if you use English like Yoda, then you will definitely not get into NTU or even your university, because all of that is wrong. I don't know. I mean, every time I see Yoda, it's like, I mean, if Yoda can communicate with everybody else, I mean, why should I care about making these mistakes or pronouncing it wrongly? That's okay. Okay, so that's the main challenge, and it's even worse when we get to this rural-urban difference, because in NTU is the most unjustice university in the whole. I think also in the whole world. The low-income student population is like 1%. It's like almost non-existent. And so all of these kids are rich kids with very good background. But if you go to more rural areas, then this gap in English is even larger. All right. So how do we try to foster interaction? The old way is to ask people to vote. Yeah. So there are these. I remember when I first started to teach, there were these clickers, and so I had to have the TA bring in like 3 boxes of clickers and give it to everybody, and then half of the clickers will have batteries that are dead, and then they'll have to replace it, and it's very complicated. Then actually now that we have Zuvio or these other apps that you can use, and so one of the leading examples I actually give this question in class, because this used to be a homework question, but the text will actually in the PowerPoint that they provide, that the publishers provide, they ask this question: what would you choose? Spend 4 years studying at the best university in the world, but you have to keep this attendance as a secret, or get an official degree from the same best university in the world, but you cannot actually study there? Which one do you want to? Which one do you want to pick? And then, of course, I can do this even without any clickers. I can actually do this by asking you, okay, so how many of you choose option 1? Please raise your hand. And then how many of you choose option 2? Please raise your hand. And then I would say, okay, so Zheng you said you wanted to do option 1. Why is that? And then here's another student, you choose option 2. Why is that? This is I actually learned this from Michael Sandels. Yeah, I remember. So when Michael Sandels came to Taiwan, he went to the NTU auditorium, 5,000 people. He actually did this. I was impressed. Well, I didn't go personally, but my students, when I asked them, they said that, so what Michael Sandels did was the following. So every person who came in got this folder from, I forgot which Tianxia or whatever company invited him. So they got this introductory folder. On the front side is white, and the back side is orange. And so Michael Sandels literally said, okay, so do you agree or disagree with the statement? Yes, please raise white. No, please raise orange. And so 5,000 people, you see how big a proportion is white, how big a proportion is orange. And then he asked the people that he can hand a microphone to, say, oh, you choose white, why do you agree? Or you choose orange, why do you don't agree? Yeah, so this is one way to actually do this. Although with Taiwanese students, it's still challenging because when you hand the microphone to them, they freak out. Yeah, but at least this itself creates some interaction. So what else can I do? Okay, so then I found this. Actually, it's very interesting because it was one Thanksgiving, and so the NTU counterpart of like what Zheng Yu Centers is helping to help teachers. They actually sent out this thank you cards to the faculty, which had this quote. It says, so Chinese proverb, tell me and I'll forget, show me and I may remember, involve me and I'll understand. And I was like, wait a minute. I thought I've learned my Chinese. Where is this quote? Or where is this original quote? And then I tried to Google, and then some people say it's from Confucius, but I couldn't, I thought, wait a minute, I read the analects like so diligently when I was in high school. Why don't I see that? And then eventually I found, I think it came from Xunzi, which is 见之不若知之，知之不若行之，学之于行之而知矣，行之明也。So apparently there's a creative translation that created this version. Yeah, or maybe this is just my working hypothesis is wrong. Yeah, if you can find an even better source, even better origin of this Chinese proverb, please tell me. Yeah, because yeah, I tried very hard, but yeah. But so the key thing here is how can we get the students involved and try to get them understand. That is the key thing. So yeah, okay, so usually what I do in the flipped classroom, so the first thing is I force the students to preview with videos. And it's even better if it's in English. Why? Because frankly speaking, I mean, there are plenty of online YouTubers, or I remember seeing, I'm not sure if you know this, there's a very famous YouTuber in mathematics called 3 Blue and 1 Brown. Yeah, so if you don't know, yeah, so pick any math topic that you find crazy and Google that topic and 3 Blue 1 Brown. You will see that he can explain a very complicated, he even has a video on AI. And I was like, oh God, you're really gonna explain deep learning, the neural network to the public? But anyway, but he explains these very complicated mathematical concepts like ease, because I mean, he's not alone. There's a whole team behind that to design the graphics, the visualization, and all that. So believe me, no matter what you teach, it's likely that there is a very excellent video online that actually explains the same topic. And so, well, if you do this in Chinese, that might be a problem because there are not that many good Chinese YouTubers that are that good. But if this is in English, then I mean you have so many resources to actually look from. And I mean you can even go for these online courses or open courseware from all of the top universities. I mean the MIT, Stanford, Harvard, they all have these resources. And then you can tell them that, okay, so because of that, so you should watch the videos beforehand and come and ask questions about the videos that you don't understand. And here, one trick is to use Slido. So the key thing is this. So you tell them that, okay, so instead of doing homework at home, you watch videos at home. But now you do homework in class. And then you group them into groups to have them work on these quote-unquote homework questions, which are actually quizzes, and in class. And one of the tricks here is to group the foreign students and the Taiwanese students together, because then they can teach each other. Especially because, I mean, if a group has at least one or two foreign students, then the Taiwanese students can't use Chinese. And so then they can teach each other because it's likely that the Taiwanese students are much better in answering the question in writing, but they may not know how to express it in words. But the foreign students are the opposite. They are very good at talking, but when it comes to doing the written exam, they may not be that good. But then that's why they can teach each other. And so this is the in-class. The whole key thing is that to do this in-class activity. And I always get this. So using Slido is very convenient. So I'll do that when I do the demo. But anyway, so the last thing is that, as I said, when I taught principles of microeconomics, I actually designed one classroom experiment per week. So to try to get them involved. If today I'm going to talk about supply-demand, I will literally run a supply-demand experiment. And what I find is that it's the 30 minutes immediately after the activity is when everybody's awake. The groups are mad at the other groups, why the other groups are so stupid, or why we aren't earning more points or more money in the experiment. And then I said, see, it's all in the textbook. See, when I talk about these economics concepts, then they already saw what happened, and I just used those examples of what happened in the activity to actually bring things out. Okay, and so the key thing is to get this involve me, and I'll understand. All right, so of course this is really about how to change. So I decided to put this up front. So to change, you need three things. The first thing is you have to understand the logic of the current system, and then you need the wisdom from God to how to fine-tune the system, and then you need to convince the key person to make the change. A lot of reforms don't work because it's not because the reformers do not have good intentions, but they don't know the logic of the current system. And so when they try to push for reform, the system resists. And so if you understand the logic of the current system, then you know then you know why there is resistance and why good intentions may not result in good outcomes. But what's more important is you need to get to know how to fine-tune the system. But that's challenging. Why? Because if you know the logic of the current system, either you are in the system yourself, you're very happy, you're corrupted, so you don't think you want to change, or you are, even though you are not satisfied of the current system logic, but you are sort of confined by, your views are confined by the system, so you cannot really think outside the box. So you really need epiphany, or that's why I say you need wisdom from God to really figure out how to actually fine-tune the system. What's the right way to push the system so that things will actually improve? And given that, of course, I mean, even if you know the logic, you know how to fine tune, you need to still convince the right person to make the change. Okay, so so for this, what you do need to think about is what is the expectations of the students when they come into this class, and then so you have to design an unexpected classroom. And here, when I say convince the key person, you are the key person. But I do have one important advice. Don't try to do everything at once. When I tried to design one classroom experiment per week, I basically had no sleep that whole semester. So, and it's very easy to fail if you try to do this all at once. So usually what I would recommend is try as a first step to think about 3 activities and for this semester. And why is that? Because then at least for the remaining 10 plus weeks, that well, it's still back to normal. So you don't have to really design something new. But if this year these 3 activities are very successful, then next year then you can repeat the 3 activities and then think about another 3 new activities. And then another 3. If one or two of these activities are not good enough, then next year what you can do is you can replace that activity or try to change it somehow to make it work. And by doing this gradually, you will not die trying, and you will gradually change. And if you think of it, if you have 3 new activities per year, after 3 times, so it depends on how frequent you teach your class. So, but at the least after 3 years, you would have 9 activities, or more than half of your class has this new flavor, and so that itself will make a huge difference already. So you don't have to start like what I did when I first started, and do it every week and burn yourself out. Well, even doing 3 classes per semester, that already is a very good first step, and then so you can build on that year after year. Although maybe Zheng Yu Center will be mad about that because you're not doing an immediate revolution, but no, don't burn out. Yeah. So if you do 3 classes a year, then in 3 years that's more than half a semester. That's already good enough. All right. So this is the 1-page summary. So there's the instruction, there's the economic experiment, and there's the videos that are before that. Okay, so I have 2 demos ready. So I think I can stop here to take questions before we go on to actually see a demo, and then we can talk about that. Yeah. So are there any questions before I actually try the demo? Yes.
Actually, according to what you say, the English education in Taiwan, to my own understanding, in elementary school actually, is quite good. Never mind in cities or in villages. But after that, when the students enter the junior high,
starting from middle school,
they are totally spoiled.
Yeah.
So I think professors in the universities need to cry out to the Ministry of Education, because they make the wrong policy for English teaching. Yeah, they would like to teach the students the grammars. Anyway.
Okay. I'll tell you what. Actually, the Ministry of Education is actually going in the right direction now. Mm-hmm. For the 2030, they actually have this EMI teaching not only for universities, but also for high schools and junior high schools. For every junior high school student that is facing this, they all tell me that they hate it. And what I tell them is, great, tell me a way to make the English education of middle school reoriented at the right goal on communication, instead of grammar, written exam, and all that.
Exactly.
If there is another way out, except for this EMI for middle school, tell me, and I will fully agree with that. But because there isn't, so too bad. You have to suffer for EMI in middle school as well. Yeah. So yeah, and that's why I say that the whole point for the EMI in middle school is that finally, for the first time, English education is not about scoring 100 full marks in the written exam. It's about how do I teach a different subject and using English as a medium, as a communication device in the classroom. And so hopefully after this is fully implemented in the middle school system, well, then the college professors will see these students who are not only good at completing written exams in English, but also using English as a means of communication. Yeah, but you're fully right.
Yeah, hopefully. And according to your methodologies to flip the classroom, I think it's quite useful even for myself because I taught such kind of courses in English for more than 1 or 2 decades, but I still learn something new. Thank you for that. And one more comment is according to TA's teaching, I record all my teachings in the classes, and for TA, they are also required to do so because I would like the students to the material we teach in the classroom.
Yeah.
So in this way, the TA are also forced to teach everything in English because they need to broadcast all those materials to not only the students but also the professor, right? So I will bring my students to Czech Republic to be TAs over there. So it's good not only for the teachers but also for the students, the TAs.
Yeah, very good point. Yeah, so to force the TA sessions to also be in English, well, you have them recorded and put it online.
Yeah.
And actually, you have a very good excuse. You actually, so when I say I record my course and then I just put the video online, actually now I don't have to do it because it's all on OpenCourseWare. The whole class is online. But the key advantage for that is that for the especially for the Taiwanese students, who they're so afraid that I can't understand the English. Fine, because now you can just go to the YouTube or these videos, and you can rewatch it. Like if that sentence you understand, you can repeat it like 10 times, 20 times. Actually, the Taiwanese students, the NTU students love this. They play the video of the lecture at like double speed or triple speed, and they only slow down when they find it not understandable. But in EMI, it's the flip side. If you think normal speed is too fast, you can go to 0.75, 0.5, or 0.25. You can slow it down and then repeat it again and again until you understand. And so I do that myself. And yeah, but you have a very good suggestion that you should ask the TA to also do that for the TA session. And so because of that, the TA will be forced to also teach in English. Yeah, I do have to admit, even if you do that, the TAs could try to do something different in the office hours or when you don't see it. Yeah, but the more it actually helps, and especially if you force the TAs to teach in English and record that, of course, it would actually help them to also explain things in office hours in English as well. But that is a very good point. And teach. It's educating your TAs correctly would definitely help you as well. Okay, so are there other questions before I go to the demo? 你要用中文问也可以。Oh yeah, there's one thing I do want to say. I did cheat a little bit because even though this is an EMI talk, my slides are bilingual. And I find that helpful, especially for Taiwanese students. So when I talk about presentation, I always say, if you have a slide that has very small fonts, that means you don't want the audience to see it. So my Chinese are in small fonts. Yeah, but it is true that especially for Taiwanese students, they're so well trained to memorize everything, to try to catch everything and do very good in exams. So they'll be so afraid about this EMI teaching. But if you help them with some of the Chinese captions, even if it's small fonts, then they feel more comfortable. Yeah. So that's something that I sometimes do. Of course, I mean this is a little bit cheating because supposedly, I do this more for my introductory or freshman students, but for my graduate students, I'll be more strict. But at least for the very beginning, so this will help the students. Yeah, so that's something I do want to say. Yes.
I have a question. So it seems like you ask the student to answer some question.
Yeah.
But the thing is we always prepare the question by ourselves. So I'm just wondering, have you tried to ask the student to ask their own question?
Oh, okay.
Because I think that's more important. I try to do it, but it's very difficult.
Okay, that's a very good question. So what I did actually try in my Principles of Microeconomics class is the first thing is that so all of my midterm and final exams, I pre-commit to actually give them a news article and then ask questions from the news article. So let's see. Okay, so a good example of this would be, for example, now at the end of February, the Taipei City mayor just decided to make U-Bike free again. And so one interesting question is how would that change the usage of U-Bike? And so you could find some articles talking about, so the Taipei City government estimates that the U-Bike usage would jump up by 10% or 16% or some estimate. And if you think about U-Bike usage in here at NTU campus, that would actually change by a lot. And so if I were to give an exam this semester, I would actually give them this news article, and then I would ask them, calculate the price elasticity of U-Bike usage, and then what assumptions you need to do this calculation, and predict what's going to happen, So is the demand for U-Bike elastic or inelastic, and so how would the revenue change and so on. Anyway, so the questions are the standard economics questions, but I pre-commit to ask only if I can find a news article about that. I literally did this one year when the NTU how do I call that? 总务长. Yeah, so it's the vice chairman, the provost or the
maybe treasurer or somebody. Provost is the 教务长.
No, 总务长.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure how do I call 总务长in English.
Dean of General.
Okay, yeah. So the Dean of General Affairs. So he sent this email to all of NTU students saying that if you park your bike at the wrong place, Sui Yuan Abe will come and take your bike away. The first 3 times it's free, but starting from the 4th time, we will charge you $50. According to our statistics, there are twice as many third violations than 4th violations. Hence, we decided to make this free bike violation to be only 2 times. So that was the email from the Dean of the General Affairs. And so I asked them first thing, what is the price elasticity for parking your bike randomly? Number 1. Number 2, what do you predict would happen after this policy change? And number 3, if going from 3 free violations to 2 is going to improve, then why not go from 2 to 1 and 1 to 0? Or how would things change differently if you go from 3 to 1 versus 3 to 2 versus 2 to 1 versus 1 to 0? The students hated it. But I remember there was one year after the final exam, one student came to me and said, hey, why don't you ask each student to come up with their own questions like this and give it to the other students? And I told him, 学弟妹 is going to be very mad at you, but that's a great idea. So now what I have is, for 1% of the final grade, there's this exam question giving contest where the students will form groups. They will each propose a question, and then the best question will be actually in the final exam. Yeah, so that's something that you can really think about. And of course, there are two parts of the grade here. One is to participate. So by submitting any question, they will get the 1 point to participate. But the real incentive is if you give a really good question, then it will actually show up in the final exam, and so you will have an advantage in the exam. Yeah. So that is one way to design this so that to have students to actually participate. And what I do is I put all of my past exam questions online, and I assign that as homework. So next year students will have to see all these crazy questions, but they get to practice and then prepare to give questions and also take the challenge in the actual exam. All right. So I have two demos. One is a more individual experiment. The other one is an interactive one or group experiment. Which one do you want to see as a demo? One or two?
Both. Okay.
Both? Okay. I can start with one, and then if we have time, we can go on to the second one. Okay?
Okay.
All right. So then okay. So let's see. I think I should use my mouse to click on this and then go to this one. Okay. So this is actually one of the demos where I talk about screening and signaling. Okay. So yeah. So I already said that, yeah. So I think I already went through this, yeah. So the problem for principles of economics is that the students expect big classes. I said 169 is the smallest class. My colleagues have, like Wu Chongming would have like 300, 400 student classes. You just cram everything, memorize everything, and forget about that after the exam. And they say, I'm teaching Blackboard economics, and that's unrealistic. So they say that you forget frequently, quickly, and completely. 经济就是经常忘记，会计快快忘记，统计通通忘记。So that's my classroom. Not so different from other people's. So that's their expectation. So how do I change this? Okay, so this is my classroom experiment 12, screening and signaling. So this is the scenario. CHT Incorporation offers 2 cell phone plans. Plan A, $1 per minute. Plan B, $168 monthly for 300 minutes, and then $1.5 per minute after that. Okay. And so if this is done in person, I actually literally give out cards. But when I did this hybrid, I had a problem that I cannot deal cards to people online. So I said, okay, based on the last digit of your student ID number, you are either, so it depends on which one, then which plan would you choose? So if you are spades, or if the last digit is 1 or 3, your monthly usage is up to 100 minutes, 0 to, so this is like my wife. She never uses the cell phone. If you're a heart, or if the last digit is 2 or 4, your usage is 200 to 300 minutes. So this is like me. And then if you are a diamond, or 6, 8, 10, then your usage is 400 to 500 minutes. So that's like my children. And the last one, clubs, your usage is 600 to 700 minutes per month. So that's like your classmate who's in love. Okay, so for different cards that you draw, or for the different last digit of your student ID number, so so please think about, you want to choose plan A or plan B. And then I cut this Slido. So it's a quiz. So please scan the QR code and join the quiz. Well, I could do this in person if everybody's in person, but the trick here is even if you so in a hybrid situation, or if it's online teaching, then of course using Slido is very helpful. The other thing for this is that sometimes the Taiwanese students are not willing to participate, or they're inclined to raise their hand, and so using Slido, they're more willing. All right, so here is the question. So which plan is cheaper for you, A or B? And so now there are different options depending on what is the last digit of your, okay, so you guys are not students, so you can use your national ID number or, yeah. I can't use the first digit because it's either 1 or 2, but yeah, the last digit is okay. Yeah, and on Slido, actually, you can see how many people are joined and how many people completed. If I see that after 30 seconds, there are too few people answering, I can give them another 30 seconds. Please take your time to answer this. So yeah, so depending on which, A or B, depending on which type of user you are. Yeah, the first time it's usually you need more time, but yeah, the timer is there to remind you that you should hurry up. Anyway, so I'll give you another I'll give you another 30 seconds for the remaining people who haven't finished. Yeah, but for the people who are already completed, I thank you. I appreciate your speedy participation. Oh, I do this with a quiz because at the very end you actually see the ranking. And then what I do is I give 1 point, extra credit to the highest ranking person. And if there are multiple people who answer correctly the same amount of questions, then the fastest guy is the highest ranking person. So responding faster is better. Okay, so we have quite a few answers already. So let's take a look. So here are the answers. And actually, there is a correct answer for this. Which actually each of them have 4 people getting the right answer. Well, there's actually answers down here as well. So there's but here there's only So some of you got the right answer, some did not. All right. So okay. So let's go back to the question and think carefully. Okay. So if you are like my wife, who only uses less than 100 minutes, plan A or plan B? Well, because if I use plan A, I only spend less than $100 compared to plan B, where I'm not going to use up to 300 minutes, but I'm paying 168. So plan A is better. What about if I'm hearts, like myself? Then now, because I'm not exceeding 300 minutes, so 168 is cheaper than paying $200 to $300. For choosing plan A, so I would want to choose plan B. If you're a diamond, then now it's a little bit complicated, but you're comparing $400 to $500 versus the 168 plus the extra 100 to 200 minutes you need to pay $150 to $300. And if you do the math right, you should realize that plan A is still better. But finally, if you're my student in love, then you'll realize that the 1.5 minute for plan B is not good enough, and so you will want to go back to plan A. If I do this in person, what I will literally do is I will literally ask them, if you choose plan A, please raise your hand. And then if you choose plan A, please show your card. And then you will see that all of the plan A guys are black. And then when I say, if you choose plan B, please raise your hand. And I say, if you choose plan B, please show your card. And then you'll see that most of the people who choose plan B are red. And so you see this separation going on. Okay, so after I do this activity, then I go to how do I talk about this? Screening is based on a set of rules. So here you have different cell phone plans, and then you have to optimize which one will give you the most money or the best deal. But then you have to react to other people. So that's a problem. Here we don't have this that big a problem here, but you'll see this in the next question. So what does the aggregate data look like? So this is about theory. And the separating equilibrium, as I just described, is the black people, or the black cards, or diamonds and clubs, spades and clubs will choose plan A, and the red cards, the red people would choose, so the hearts and diamonds would choose plan B. Then, of course, the empirical question is, does the empirical data match the theory? And of course, the students just went through this activity, so you can see if it's true that most of the people, most of the black cards chose plan A, and most of the red cards chose plan B. Then you can ask, wait a minute, if you're different, what's your rationale? And so I'll literally go to the students who had a red card but chose plan A and ask, hey, why did you choose plan A? And some of the students will say, I made a calculation mistake. Well, that's possible. And then some of them say, even though I have a red card, but I expect to fall in love in the following 2 years. So I'm a freshman, right? What should I do in college? Fall in love. So I anticipate my usage will go up in the future, and hence I preemptively choose a different plan. There are plenty of stories, plenty of possibilities, but I think that the key thing here is that so there are individual differences that the sort of overall theory may or may not explain. And then how can the institution or this rule be improved? So if you think of you are the CHT marketing manager, how would you design a better plan? I just saw this morning the news was the $4.99 all-you-can-eat plan is back again. Although I think in only a very selective channel and for only 3 days. So yeah. And then, of course, the next question is where did this institution come from? So, of course, here for cell phone plans, there's a lot of competition and there's a lot of different regulations and so on. And I always use this to say, hey, if you think of 2 plans, you make a calculation error and you find it that difficult. Think about yourself walking into a cell phone store and then looking at 4 different companies each giving you dozens of plans and all the possible options. Well, it's likely that I'm gonna make a mistake, overestimating or underestimating my usage and choosing the wrong plan. But hopefully, after several years, I would get my usage data and switch to the right one. Okay, so this is part 1. Part 2, so then I'll go on a lecture about this in economics, but I will skip all of this because I won't take you as, I don't want to treat you as students. But okay, so now part 2 of the experiment. Expected salary if you graduate from National Taiwan University is $35K per month. So if you got a red card, you are lucky to be in National Taiwan University. If you are a black card, then you're from Salty Chicken University. So your graduating salary will be only $22K. Well, I made a joke about $22K back when that was a real anchoring starting salary. Now I think it's legal because it's illegal because now it's lower than the minimum salary. Anyway, so at the last year, you can decide, do you want to go to graduate school at National Taiwan University? If you do that, your expected salary will be $40K, but you have to repay student loans $5K per month. So would you advise your friends or your son to apply for National Taiwan University's master's program? Okay? And here, I made this math completely just transparent. Because 40K minus 5K is exactly 35K. All right, so now let's go to slide. So depending on, so you just draw a black card or a red card, or the odd number or even numbers of the last digit. So do you want to apply for graduate school for National Taiwan University? Okay, as you go, as you're still choosing that, let me explain. Here I made this a poll, not a quiz. And because this is not a math question anymore. It's not like you do a math question and then you solve the right answer. Here it's more like there might be different opinions about do I want to go to graduate school or not. All right, so does anybody else want to enter? Well, okay, so so everybody's going to to National Taiwan University and want to apply for graduate school. Okay, that's fine. Yeah, but I'm really curious. I mean, if you are a bachelor's from Salty Chicken University, so do you want to apply or not? Well, even though we don't have that many people, but all of the Salty Chicken University graduates want to apply for graduate school. All right, so let's look at this result and so if you are a National Taiwan University graduate, you did apply to graduate school. Why is that so? So there were 9 people here. There were 9 people here. So now it's your time to type your reason. Why do you want to do that? And here, the advantage for Slido is that it actually makes a word cloud out of this. So you can actually type in keywords and then you'll just form a word cloud where, things will come out. And the more common responses or keywords will all pop up. For better salary, good. Because I just did, because I done one. Okay, that's fine. Yeah, that's good. Sometimes the students get very hilarious answers, and you acknowledge that. But then the key thing is that because of the word cloud, so the more common keywords will become bigger, and these crazy answers, unless there's a whole bunch of crazy people. Otherwise, so now the small, the less important answers will be shrinked, and the common keywords will show up. Okay, so anyway, so for the demo, I will move forward. But the key thing is, so for this question, so now if you choose not to apply, I think there were only 2 people in this category. So then now you can put in your answer. There's only 2 people, so I'm not sure if they're willing to actually share their answer here. But okay, so let me skip on. So then I go to if you are Okay, so this is the question that I told you in the early slides. So which do you think would enhance your future salary? Spend 4 years studying in the best university but keep your attendance in secret, or get an official degree of the same university but you cannot actually go? And then I always say, there's a choice of don't know. That's fine. I mean, it's okay to don't know. That's another trick to encourage people to respond, especially for the Taiwanese students who are so shy. You can decide, Okay, so let's see. All right, so I think we should proceed, but I think you guys get the idea. And then so that was the question over here, and the key thing here is that, or the economics behind this is that your answer reveals which do you think is more important reason why education is going to boost salary. It's either because of your human capital, then the actual attendance is more important, or your signal of graduating from a very good university. Okay, so so again, so then what I do is I go through the economics behind this. So here there's this institution or the set of rules where signaling or credentialism in the society or on the job market somehow people love National Taiwan University. And then, so which, of course, you have to ask the question, which choice is better for my job market? But now, you have to react to other people optimizing. Well, if everybody's going to graduate school in National Taiwan University, what would happen? Well, then maybe the recruiters will be different. And here, there's a pooling equilibrium where everybody goes to graduate school. Even though the National Taiwan undergrads are indifferent, because 40K equals to 35K. And of course, then you can ask the question, why do you choose to go or not to go? And so what I usually do is, if this is in person, I literally ask them, so how many of you want to go? And then I say, show your card. And then I will see that there will be black cards, there will be red cards, and then I'll see if how many choose not to go, and then usually only the red cards would show, and then so I would ask the red cards who chose to go to graduate school versus don't go, and ask them for different answers. Here I will get a lot of different possible answers. Some say that even though the starting salary is the same, but if I have a master's degree, then it's likely that I will get promoted faster. But other students would say, no, I decided not to go for graduate school because then I would gain 2 years more experience. And my paying salary when my classmate graduates will be higher than the starting salary of 40K. And then there'll be a lot of different answers. Some will even say that, oh, because I can learn something more that I find important in the master's program. I actually know a lot of my colleagues, professors in the Department of Economics, they actually have a different undergraduate degree, but then they go for an econ master because they want to go for an econ PhD. So if you want to change your field, that's also a very good reason why you want to apply for graduate school. Yeah, but anyway, so there are a lot of different reasons. So yeah, so of course, the empirical question is how many of the actual people choose to go to graduate school. In your poll, I think only all but 2 of the red cards decided to actually go for graduate school. And so you ask the question, if you are the red card and you chose not to go against the tide, what is the reason? And then, how can this institution be improved? This, of course, differs if you are as an employer, so what do you want to think? Or how would you react to this? And if you are the Minister of Education, if you are Pan Wen-zhong, although he might be stepping down after the new cabinet is formed, but anyway, so if you are the Minister of Education, how is it a good situation that everybody's going to graduate school? Well, it depends, right? I mean, so here, yeah. And then the last question is, why is this credentialism so stubborn in the Taiwanese society? And of course, we have 1,000 years of the imperial examination system that's so deep in our culture, and so you can think about that as well. Anyway, so that's how I teach my students, and I don't have to go through the further examples, but anyway. So yeah, actually here I actually even go through this old man's talk to talk to students about should you pick a easy course or a tough course, because actually NTU we have the deadly triangle. Because NTU Econ department, in the second year, you're required to take intermediate microeconomics, intermediate macroeconomics, and statistics and introduction to econometrics. There are 3 required courses. But because we have a lot of classes for each of these courses, so there's the road to heaven, the easy trio, and the deadly triangle that the students talk about online. Yeah. And yeah, so I actually go through that, and I will say, okay, take the tough ones. So these are part of the deadly triangles, and then and then take these classes, these advanced classes, and then actually some of the again, this is the deadly triangle coming out again. Yeah. So anyway, so I'll actually go through this old man's talk to try to convince the students that, hey, I mean, even McKinsey says you have to be this T person. You have to be broad in a wide array of fields, but then deep in one expertise. So yeah, so I actually try to teach them about this, and I don't know. I mean, I'm not sure if they actually listen. But what my conviction is that after they do the activity, when they really get involved, then I try to teach them. Then it's better, they understand better. Okay, so yeah, so then I said, oh, take this course, take that course, and if you want to do research with me, take all these crazy math courses. Yeah, and then take English composition. Yeah, and so on. Anyway, so okay, so that's the demo. That's demo number 1, and I can go back to this slide. And so I can stop for questions, or I can go to demo 2. So because we are very short of time. Oh, yeah, but before that, I do want to go through this. Yeah, so one problem I always have is if I'm going to design new activity in class, then I won't have enough time to finish my lectures. That is a big problem, except now, so I used to say, involve me and I'll understand. So, I mean, if the students are not involved, they're not motivated, then even if I finish my lectures, they still don't understand. But now I can say, wait a minute, we have videos, right? So you can actually give them the videos. If you don't finish it, you can send them links to the video and say, okay, so watch the remaining lecture after class. And it's even better because if it's in English, then I mean they can watch the video again and again and slow it down, and so that they won't be afraid that the professor is speaking English too fast or speaking in a different accent and so on, because they can actually replay it at 50% speed, 25% speed, and so on. Yeah. So yeah. Oh, I do have to get to this slide, but I have to admit that each instructor is facing their own challenge. So you don't know how awful XYU students are, or NTU students can do this, but not ours. Really? Really? Yeah. So I do have to admit this is a challenge. That's why at the very beginning I asked, how many of you are teaching economics as I am? Nobody. So I do have to admit that there is this, each classroom is different. However, every divorce is different, but there is marriage counseling. I picked this picture. You know why? If you look at this, this couple had been married even longer than the age of the counselor. Why can the counselor? Well, the counselor has some credentials, but why does the counselor have any position to actually provide counseling? Well, there is marriage counseling because there are general principles. With good communication, things will work out. If there's bad communication, then things will spiral. And so there are general principles that the counselor can talk about. There are case studies. You can look at good examples and bad examples. And also, there's inspiration. Even though when you look at this good example, you may not copy it directly, but at least you can draw inspirations and think about how this can work out in my marriage, even though things are different. So, of course, the question is, can we do this also in teaching as well? So I'm not saying that so you should copy my model into your class directly. But the question is, can we come up with some general principles and looking at these case studies and most importantly, draw inspiration? Because I fully agree that your students is different from the students I face. Well, I mean, even my colleagues will face different students than what I face. That is the reality here. And so it's more like, what are the general principles? What are the good examples? Well, maybe one time Professor Zheng Yu should have you guys share the bad examples. How disastrous my first flipped classroom was, or things like that. Because yeah, so we really learn from inspiration, or to learn from other people's examples. But it's not like we can just copy one recipe. No. All right, so yeah, so I should be able to stop here and take questions, and then if there's no questions, then I can try to do the second demo, although time is limited. Yes.
I have a question. The previewing of video before the actual session.
Yeah.
How did you prevent that from doing the video again in the actual session because your student didn't actually view it or didn't actually really religiously study it?
Okay, yeah. So
if that's the case, you might end up wasting your time, right?
Okay, so I think the first thing is that if you think of it, without assigning the video, even without the videos, we still hope the students can try to preview the class material. Nobody does that. And so the question is, can we try to use these media, videos and other things to help them at least do some preview. So some preview is better than nothing at all. And well, like in graduate micro, sometimes I literally got this question in class that I saw all of the videos, but I still don't understand. And I said, okay, then I can go through the whole lecture again. Which part did you not understand? I can explain the whole thing again. In some cases, you do need to see the same subject or see the same topic again, especially if you think of mathematics. I mean, seeing the professor going through the proofs is not enough. You have to go through the proof yourself again. So there is this, even repetition itself would help. So in some cases that is true. But of course, I mean, the danger is always the students basically decide not to watch it at all and then just come blindly into class, and then so you have a problem.
Yeah. So because that's my question, because to flip a classroom is one thing, but to flip an English classroom is another thing. Right?
Okay. Yeah.
So previewing, I believe that's very, very good. I believe that's very good because if students will watch it the first time, when you do it in the actual classroom the second time, that would really help. So
okay, yeah. So the other thing is that if you think that your class is not suitable to flip, you don't have to do that. But the key thing here is that, so if you really want to try, the key thing is to design the classroom activity so that the students find that if I watch the videos first, then I have an advantage.
Yeah.
So like in the cases that in the classroom experiment that I just demoed, well, all of those activities are directly related to the economic concept of screening or signaling that is part of the chapter material. So if the students find that, if I know this beforehand, then I can do better in this activity and earn more points or beat my friend and so on. Then they would find that not watching the video is not a good idea.
So a follow-up question is that so does that make teachers for flipping the EMI classroom more time to prepare? Does that mean longer hours of preparation?
Okay, so that's a very good question. One thing I think you would find you'll get less time to prepare is that if you're flipping a Chinese classroom, it's almost surely you have to record all of the videos yourself. But if it's an EMI classroom, I mean, don't bother to record it yourself, because almost surely you'll be able to find very good videos that you can assign directly. And so in that sense, you might be saving time. But I do agree that, I mean, designing these classroom activities, all of this is time consuming. And so it is an investment. That's why I say that if you really want to try this, don't repeat the mistake that I did, where I tried to design one per week, and that was back when we had 18 weeks of teaching. And so I had to design like 15 to 16 classroom experiments for the whole semester. Yeah, and I almost burned out. But by trying, like say, 3 classroom activities for the whole class, for the whole semester, then at least you can invest and try it out And then if the 3 activities this year work, then try another 3 next year and another 3 next year. Yeah, but by doing that I think is the way that you can actually phase in and instead of just trying the first time and then just burn out and then give up.
Okay, thank you.
And yeah, and what I do want to say is that, especially for the EMI, forcing the students to watch beforehand is challenging, but it's much easier to convince them that if you went through my lecture and you think you missed something, go back and rewatch the recording. Yeah, this is way easier. But once they get the habit of watching this, then that could be a very good stepping stone. For example, given I'm already watching this, why don't I just click on the next video and watch next week, and so that I have an edge, and so I can beat my classmate in the next week's classroom activity. Yeah, I mean, believe me, they have this. That's why I say that it's the student that recommended to me that you should have this contest of giving exam questions, because they really want to beat their friends.
That's the difference between you and school.
Yeah. Highly motivated.
Okay. Yeah.
So are there other questions? Or should I go to the next demo if I just force you guys? Okay, so let's go to the next demo. Let's see. Wait. No, I need the mouse to jump to the. Where's the mouse? Here it is. Jump? Okay, so this is public good contribution. Wait, I have to think about, should I do this? I'm trying to find if I brought my playing cards.
Before while Professor Wang is looking, I just want to tell you something. For EMI improving or actually you just need to prepare like 4 weeks like a EMI program. So it's like just try 4 times, 4 of your class this semester, and try to record it and send it, and that will be help. 就是说我们的 EMI 其实也是说，你只要 try 4个礼拜比较有特色的，然后我们去慢慢的改善，就像王主任那样讲的，慢慢改善，然后我们就可以去把它来丢这个 EMI 教学技巧的这一个奖励的申请。那你不要觉得说自己会做得很差什么的，那个做得很差的也是有办法。因为当你做得很差的时候，你就可以去丢教学实践研究计划，然后所以这个都是有进步。而且你做得很差的时候，你在申请下一次的时候，你就说哦，我上次跟这一次的差别是什么，都可以申请的。然后还有就是说，不同的学校之间彼此之间可以互相学习。还有那个失败的例子在哪时候看最好呢？就是我们 EMI 的那个社群里面是最好的。因为在那边的话，大家都可以告诉彼此说，我这一次失败的原因是什么？那我们要怎么去改善？可能在那个大课堂里面可能很难分享，可是，在那个小小的群组里面充满了温暖，大家会说我也是这样，然后就不会觉得孤单，所以都欢迎大家来申请这样子。
Okay, yeah. So because of time, I think what I'll do is I'll go through this one quickly. But yeah. Anyway, so. If I do this in person, I'll actually give each one of you a card, and then you would have to form groups of 4 by collecting. So each group would have the same number but different colors, and so hearts, spades, clubs, and diamonds. And so the key thing here is to group them and to make a decision. So yeah, so. And of course, if it's online, I actually literally open up each chat rooms for each group, and then the TA would assign them according to their, let's say, student ID number or whatever. Yeah. And then okay, so each group would have 2 red cards and 2 black cards. What I'll do is I'll go to each group and then collect 2 cards from you, and so you would have to choose which 2 cards to submit to me. Either 2 black, 2 red, or 1 each. So you have only 3 possible choices. Yeah. And you keep the, so you keep the remaining 2 cards. And please submit the cards facing down, so you can't show the cards to everybody else. And so then I will count the red cards in the pool. Please discuss and make this a joint decision. Don't have one dictator choose everything. Okay. So the scores depend only on the red card. For each red card you keep, you get 1 point. For each red card in the pool, it's 2 points for each group. So for example, if there are 30 groups and each submit 1 each, then the pool has 30 red cards, so 60 points. So each group has 61 points. Okay? And in the later rounds, the red cards you keep may change value, but the red cards submitted to the pool always yields 2 points to each group. So okay, so that's the rule. So basically, the choices are simple. You have 4 cards for each group. You can submit 2 red, 2 black, or 1 each. And for each red card you keep, you would get, in this example, 1 point. And for each card that you give to the pool, everybody gets 2 points. All right. So here's the practice round. Okay. So here's the earning. So 1 point for each red card you keep, and 2 points total for red card in the pool. And how much would you earn if everybody submitted 2 red cards? And how much if everybody else submitted 2 red cards, but you submitted only 1? And the question is it worth it to keep 1 red card in this situation? All right, so now please open up Slido, and then here's the quiz. This is the practice round. So let's start. So you can just look at so if if there are 30 groups, everybody is submitting 2 red cards, so how many points? So how many points would you get? Okay, so there are very few answers, so we'll give everybody another 30 seconds. Okay, so now we have some answers, so you can still submit, but the answer, so if 30 groups, everybody submits 2 red cards, then so there'll be 60 red cards that in the pool, so each red card in the pool is 2 points, so you get 120 points. That's the right answer. So 4 of you, congratulations. Wait, okay. So now, suppose all the other groups submitted 2 red cards, but you kept 1 and submitted only 1. How much would you earn? Yes, and the answer is 119. And so, is it worth it? So if you submit 2 red cards, there are 60 cards in the pool, everybody gets 120. If others submit 2 red cards, but you submit only 1, you earn 119. So it's not worth it. Okay, now we'll move to practice round 2. So now, each card you keep gives you 50 points. So how much would you earn if everybody submits 2 black cards? And how much would you earn if others all submit 2 black cards, but you submitted 1 of each? And is it worth it to submit 1 red card? Okay, so again, I'll go through the quiz. And so so now each red card you keep is worth 50 points, but each card to the pool is only 2 points. So how much would you, if all groups submit 2 black cards, how much would you earn? so we have different answers. So, and okay, so if everybody submitted all 2 black cards, there's no red cards in the pool, and so you get no points from the pool, but you kept 2 red cards, each is 50 points, so you earn 100 points. Okay, now, and suppose everybody else is submitting 2 black cards, but now you submit one red card and 1 black card. So now how much are you going to earn? Ooh, somehow Slido has cut off my English. Now I would have to go back and fix that. Okay, so here, so because you have 1 black, you submit 1 black, 1 red, so there's 1 red card in the group because everybody else is submitting only black cards. You guys gave everybody 2 points, but you get only 52 because you kept only 1 card. So, okay, 52. Then, yeah, so, oh, actually, I do want to show this. Here's the scoreboard. Yeah, HH is the fastest. He got 4 out of 5 questions correct with using only 1 minute and 2 seconds. Gary is the second place, 1 minute and 9 seconds. And then, yeah, the others are not as good. Yeah, so I will actually have this scoreboard here to encourage people to participate. And at the end of the lecture, the highest leader would actually get some extra credit. Yeah, so that's something that this is a built-in feature of the Slido quiz, so you can just use it directly. Okay, so here I said that if everybody's submitting 2 black cards, everybody kept their 2 cards, then you no points from the pool, but you earn 100 points by keeping your 2 cards. But if you submit 1 each, then you get 2 points from the pool and 50 points for keeping 1 card, so 52. So here it's not worth it to submit 1 red card. Okay, so now it's the real one. So it's not 1 or 50, now it's 4. So now you have 16 to 6. So now for each red card you keep, you earn 4 points. For each red card that you donate, each group, everybody earns 2 points. So now you have 60 seconds to discuss whether to submit 2 red, 2 black, or 1 each, and then submit accordingly. Before you go on, one question: how many red cards do you expect from 30 groups? Yeah, because now we're in the intermediate situation. 0. Okay, and then actually there's a Slido here that so it's Professor Chen would be the first the 0 one, and then 0, 9, 1 to 9, 10 to 19, 20 to 29, 30, 39, 40, 49, or and so on. Actually, I think I have a 60. Let's see if I have it. Yeah, I actually have a 60 red cards option. Yeah, if you want to choose that one. Yeah, and one thing to note is that this is not a quiz. This is just a poll because there is no absolute right answer, and actually your expectation would actually affect how likely you're willing to actually submit 1 or 2 red cards. Oh, okay. So there are some people who choose 0, some people choose 10 to 19, some 30 to 39, and some more than 50. Oh, that's really optimistic. And then and then we'll actually so we will actually do this, and then we'll do this again. This is real round 2, and see how that changes. Yeah, so and so on. So and sometimes we actually do round 3. And then we say, wait a minute, now something's different. You are allowed to hold a group discussion in the whole classroom, across all groups. Yeah. So now you guys can talk and decide, yeah. And actually sometimes when I do this, actually one year there was a student who grabbed the microphone and started to lecture on, hey, let's all try to submit 1 red card. Just 1 red card is enough. See, if we all do 1 red card, then everybody gets more, something like that. And then, indeed, some of the groups actually follow his advice and actually do another red card. And then the next time he grabs the microphone again and says, hey, okay, so forget about the free riders. For all of the groups that you donated one red card, this time let's donate a second red card. And I told him, but that's the last round. Do you want to try? Anyway, so I allow them to discuss and then see what happens. And the last one is the interesting one. So I said, this time you have to disclose your submission and make them public information. And then I also asked them, so how many red cards do you expect people to actually? Yeah, so our groups brave enough to show I submit 2 black cards or not. Okay, so so this is the let me go through all of this quiz, but anyway. So actually this is some of the quiz. This is the answer to the quiz that actually do this. But so afterwards, I would actually have this group discussion about the different scenarios and ask them what's the opportunity cost for contributing to the pool, and what is the rate of return for doing that, and so is it good for the society if you submit the red card and so on. So this is really about public good contribution, and even if the students are not competitive, they still care about the welfare for the whole class. Actually, the best way to collude is everybody donating everything. And so that they all earn a lot of points in the class. Everybody gets an A+. But of course, the challenge here is that people might want to free ride here in this situation. All right, so so I quickly went through this one, because of time limit. But so the last slide is for questions. So I can, if you're willing to raise your hand and ask questions, that's also good. But if you're afraid, you can use, like my students, to use Slido and to ask the questions and type it out. That's also possible.
Okay, any questions?
Yes.
Thank you, Professor, for the excellent sharing. I have a general question.
Okay.
Thank you, Professor, for the excellent sharing. I have a general question because I used to have mixed of students, like local student, international student in my lectures. For example, I believe, like you said, when we have paper test and when we have they already put enough in the paper test. So usually I will have the presentation during their midterm or sometime. So I want to add your maybe experience to improve my way of teaching. What are the other maybe ideas or the suggestion you want to give me? Like, because as faculty, I would like to have this from you. Thank you.
So you mean you want to improve the Taiwanese presentation, or?
Yeah, I used to ask them present some ideas for about the interest in technology or maybe about my lectures. But what are the other suggestions to improve their skills?
So in my elective class, so that's more advanced class, I have the students form groups to present papers. But I allowed them only 20 minutes. And so it's not really a complete presentation of the whole thing. But what I also give them is a recipe of how to spend 20 hours to prepare for a 20-minute presentation. And I always tell the Taiwanese students, well, if you've never done an English presentation before, here's a recipe. And if the question is only, can you invest 20 hours to do that? So this is actually written by a one of my friends back in high school who went to the U.S. For his studies in WE, and then he decided to write down how he prepared for a conference presentation that's only 20 minutes. And his rationale is that if you did this research, you invested like hours and hours in the experiment, it deserves you to spend 20 hours in trying to present it well in a conference. And the recipe is basically so you make this after you complete the slides. Then what you have to do is you actually have to write a script, but you are not allowed to memorize it. What you should do is you should print out the script, and so you should start by reading out the script in front of your computer screen, and go through that again and again until you can actually put your script down and look at your own slides. And after you can do that, then you can actually do the presentation not looking at your slides because you have seen that like 10,000 times. And because you did write a script, so you did plan your presentation, but because it's not the case that you memorize it, so if somebody asks a question, you won't like, wait, how can I go back to the script? And but doing this would take like 20 hours. But the final outcome is a very good, at least a very adequate presentation. Yeah. So I always tell my students, so here's the recipe. The question is only, are you willing to invest 20 hours? And what I do believe is that, I mean, regardless of if the student is going to actually present in a conference or study abroad, or even if they are going to go to the industry and to work, this kind of English presentation skill or exercise is more than helpful. Yeah, so that I actually count as like 20% of my final grade. Yeah. So that is one good example of how to do that. And to help the audience, what I do is I actually give them this grading sheet, and they have to provide feedback to the presenter. And so afterwards, I'll open up, like say, a Google survey, and so they can put in their anonymous feedback, and I can print that out and give it to the presenter. And sometimes, if I have enough class time, I'll have them do 2 presentations, so that after they get the feedback, where a lot of these crazy, very harsh comments, that then they might want to try to improve. Yeah.
Okay, due to a time limitation, final one last question, or if not, let's just thank Professor Wang.
Thank you.
We have a situation, so. Thank you. Thank you again. 所以我们之后我们还会邀请各个学校，包含师大的老师。那其实你会想说，我们怎么都邀请这些本来英文就很好的学校呢？不会，我们还会邀请其他的一些私立大学的老师，他们比我们遇到的环境更恶劣，他怎么去在里面生存下来？那我们都会在里面跟大家来分享这样子。那再请大家再注意我们办公室里推出来的一些活动，然后再努力的参加这样子。那之后也有一些那个回馈表，麻烦大家帮忙扫一下。然后我们之后，对，可以扫描完之后，我们就会把这一次参加的那个证明书寄给你们，你们就可以拿去申请那个 EMI 的奖励积点这样子。
在讲者的面前讲不太好。
啊，不会的，
好像是我们都来这边要赚点数的。
没
Only kidding.
学到很多。
This is a very good talk. Thank you.
然后外面的话有那个餐点，那个 dessert outside, so you can take it.
这个回去填就可以了吧？
啊，这个回去填就可以了，